Hello everyone, and welcome to the Creating Models lecture for Django Level 2. We covered a lot of concepts in the previous lecture, so let's actually start implementing them. And in order to do that, we are going to continue working with the two project folders from Django Level 1. If you don't have those, you can always download them from the course notes. Okay, let's start making some models. I'm going to hop over to the editor and open up the first project folder now. Okay, here I am at the editor, and I have my file structure, Django Level 1, and I have the two projects from Django Level 1, Pro 2 and First Project. So you can open those up, and what I want you to do is inside of First App, open up the models.py file. And you should have somewhere in that models.py file from django.db import models. And if you don't have that for some reason, go ahead and type that in. And now what we're going to do is using object-oriented programming, we'll create models with Django. So models, as we discussed in the previous lecture, are just classes. And then we give the actual name. You can kind of relate these to the name of the table inside the database. And then we'll actually inherit from models.model. So that's the base class. So we're going to have this topic be a derived class. And then this class object attribute, top_name, is going to be equal to models dot, and then we actually have to specify what kind of field it's going to be. This is going to be a character field for the actual topic, and then we'll say max length is equal to 264. So max length is a constraint of this character field. It's really up to you what value you choose for the maximum length. Obviously you should have some maximum length, otherwise your users are going to be able to put as many characters as they want and you'll have to save them. 264 for a topic name, it's probably overkill, but that's totally fine. Then we can say unique, which is a parameter to require as a constraint that all the topics be unique, meaning you can't have duplicates in there. So we'll say that's true as well. And then usually you'll also want to have some sort of string representation of your model. So if you ever have to print out an instance of topic, you'll be able to do that without any error. So we know that there's a special method for that from the object-oriented programming sections, and that's just the str. And then we're going to say return self.topName. Great. Now let's create two more models. We'll create a web page, models.model, and then we'll create three class object attributes here, the topic, and these are essentially the columns inside the table web page. And this will be a foreign key because we're going to grab from topic, which makes sense. And then we have name, which is going to be models dot, and this will be a character field. And we'll give this as well a max length. Set that equal to 264. 264.128, that's totally fine, whatever you want. And I also want to specify the unique constraint here to be true. And then finally, I'm going to have URL be equal to models.URL field. And I also want this to be unique. So you can always visit the documentation of Django for the actual available fields, but we're definitely going to be showing you the most common ones as we continue on through this course. Things like integer fields, date fields, etc. So just keep that in mind. And then we also want some sort of string representation here. Pass in self, and I'm going to say return self dot, and we'll return the name of the web page as its string representation. Finally, let's create an access record class. And this will also inherit from models.model. And what this access record class is going to be is we'll say the name of models.foreign key. And then what we will do is pass in web page. And we're also going to have a date field. When was it actually accessed? So the date column will be models dot a date field. No extra constraints there. And then if I want a string representation of this, I'll say str self, and then I'm going to just pass the actual date. So I'll return self.date. But unfortunately, since this is a date time object, it needs to be casted as a string. And if you're ever unsure if one of these fields is going to be able to just simply be represented as a string, you can always just cast it using the str built-in function. Okay, So looks like all our models are ready. Now it's time to actually create the SQL databases behind these models. And this is what the real power of Django is all you have to do is define classes here, and Django is going to take care of the rest of actually building out that SQL database for you. And we do that through a series of commands. The first one we need to do is to actually initiate this entire process. In that project folder, I will call Python manage.py and then call migrate. Hit enter, and you should see running migrations. And if you've already run this, if you run it twice, you'll see no migrations to apply. I accidentally already ran it before I filmed this, so it says no migrations. For you, it will say something else if you haven't run this already. Then the next thing you have to do is register the changes to your application. So what we will do here is say Python manage.py, and we call make migrations. Let me make sure I spelled that right. Yep. Make migrations, and then the name of your application. In our case, it's simple. It's just first app. We'll hit enter, and you'll see some other things. Now, I got no changes detected in app first app because I already ran this. Again, you'll get something else. It'll say something like creating model, etc. And after you've done that, you need to run Python make manage.py migrate one more time. So we'll say Python manage.py migrate one more time. And for me, it says no migrations to apply. You'll probably get something different since you'll be running it for the first time. So those three commands, this one, Python manage.py, then Python manage.py make migrations, your application name, and then again, Python manage.py migrate. And now our models should be ready and connected to a SQL database that Django just created for us and register the changes to our application. And now the question arises, well, how do you actually confirm that all of this worked, and how do you actually interact with that database? Well, we'll show you the most simple and basic way, and that's to create some test data with some shell commands. So using Python at the shell, we can actually interact with our database. And this is how I'm going to do that. I will call Python manage.py shell. And this will open up an interactive console for me. I'm using Python 3.5 here. You're probably using Python 3.6. That's totally fine. Either one should work. And I'm going to collapse that tree so we can see a little more here. And whoops, it's not what I meant to do. Okay, let's come back down to the console. Here we go. Now, to make sure everything's working, I'm just going to print hello. I should get hello back. And good, Python's working fine. What we will do is we'll say from first underscore app dot models. So this is the models.py file I have open right here from that first app folder. Import topic. So actually import an instance or import that class so we can work with it. And that worked fine. If you get an error here, it's probably because you forgot to do the migration command. So keep that in mind. And then we can say print topic.objects.all, close parentheses. And if I run this, this will actually print all the objects in that topic model or topic table. You'll get nothing back the first time, so let's create something. We'll say t is equal to an instance of topic, and we'll say the top name. So the topic name is the social network. So maybe a couple websites fall in their social networks, things like Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if anyone's still on MySpace, but you get the idea. I'll hit enter here, and then to actually save this change, I say t.save, and that's a method that we inherit from the models.model class. So I hit enter. Now it's saved. So if I run that previous command of print topic.objects.all, I get back query set topic social network. Great. So I actually was able to affect all of this, and now I'm going to quit. So far we've created models, and we've created the databases behind them, and we actually used shell commands to add something. Now we're definitely not going to be using the shell every time we want to add something or view our model or get an idea of what the database actually contains. In order to use more convenience, we use the admin interface. And this is, again, a really awesome feature of Django. It's going to have a fully developed admin interface with very little work from us. But in order to have the admin interface with the models, we need to register them to our application's admin.py file. So let's show you how we can do that. I'm going to open up the directory tree here, and I have my application folder, and inside of that I see admin.py. And it looks something like this: from Django.contrib, import admin, and it says register your models here. So I need to basically tell my application that my models exist. So I'll say from, and then you put in the name of your application. So in my case, it's first app, .models, so that models.py file, import, and then I'm going to import all the models. So that's access record, that's topic, and Adam should be helping you out here. And then the last one was called web page, I believe. There we go. Great. And then it's time to register them. And the way you register them is from that admin.site.register. And it should be lowercase. And then we pass in the actual model. So we can start with access record. And then we'll do this a couple more times for the other two models. We'll say register, topic, and then admin.site.register, register, and then finally web page. Okay, so these are registered and ready to be used with the admin interface. In order to actually fully use the database with the admin interface, I need to create a super user. That way, not just any Joe Schmo can come in and start messing around with our database. Only people who were creating the website and had access to all of this information could create a super user. And we can do that with the following. So under first project, I'm going to say Python manage.py, and then we say create super user. And then later from the admin interface, you can create more super users or give people more permissions. But we have to create at least one super user here from this command line. So we'll create a super user, and we need to have a username, a password, and an email address. Now it's totally up to you what you want to provide here as your username, email, and password. Just really make sure that you remember them or write them down somewhere. Otherwise, you'll have to repeat this entire create super user process. So I'm going to say my username is Jose. Email address, let's say training@payariandata.com. And then my password, I'll just say TESTPASSWORD, test password. It won't let you do super weak passwords, so keep that in mind. This one that I'm typing in is really weak, just test password, but I don't really care since I'm never actually going to launch this website. All right, so I created a super user. Now it's time to actually use that super user with the admin interface. And let's do that by actually running the server and checking out that admin interface in our browser. So I'll say Python manage.py, run server, hit enter, and hopefully we have no errors. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this and jump to my browser. Okay, so here I am at my browser. If you did everything correctly, you shouldn't notice anything on the front end change. You still get this picture of Django himself. But if you say /admin and hit enter, now you get a login where you can provide your username and then your password. So let's provide our password. In my case, it was really weak. Test password. Hit login. And now this is what the Django admin page looks like. And this was all done automatically for you by Django. The SQL databases were created for you. This admin page was created for you with just those few lines of code. And I know right now it may seem like you had to do a lot of work to get all of this, but once you feel really comfortable with Django, this is going to feel like magic every time. It still amazes me every time that Django does this all for you automatically. So this is really, really awesome. Okay, so if we check out topics, I can actually click on topics here. And I see that I have my topic, social network. And then I can click on that, I can delete it, I can save, add another, save and continue editing, go to history of this, come back to first app, topics, come see something else, access records. Right now I have 0 access records. I can manually add in an access record, so that's pretty cool as well. So let's say I go to web pages, and instead of using shell commands, I could click here, add a web page. I select the topic. I can either click plus here to add another topic, or select from existing topics. Remember, this is a foreign key into another table, so it's a drop-down menu. Social network, and then we can give it a name. So this web page can be something like Google, and the URL will be something like www.google.com. And then we're just going to say save, and now I have a web page. Great. And now you can see how we can use Django admin to create and access records. Now you also see just how powerful the admin interface and why only certain people should have authentication and authorization to access this page. If someone else maliciously accesses this page, they can do a lot of damage to your website. So again, this is super important that you protect access to this admin page. This essentially gives you control over the entire site. And later on in the course, we'll discuss users, groups, permissions, a lot more. But we can see here there's already an authentication authorization application for us. You can check out users. Right now, we only have Jose, that's me. But maybe you're working with other people in your company and you want to add permissions. You can eventually add users from here. So you can say add a user, their username, password confirmation, etc. So again, Django admin interface, a lot of power here. You got to keep this safe. Okay, so that's it for now. Coming up next, we're going to continue talking about Django models and a lot more. And we'll also show you how to actually use the library Faker to populate your databases. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.